Did you know that the continent of Africa is much larger than we were taught? For centuries, maps have shaped our perception of the world, guiding us through vast oceans and across continents. However, a persistent distortion has quietly perpetuated an inaccurate portrayal of the Earth's geography, one that greatly underestimates the true size of Africa. This misrepresentation has consequences that extend beyond the realm of geography. It reinforces stereotypes and can perpetuate a sense of Africa as a place of limited significance. It downplays the complexity and richness of its history, its contributions to science, art, and culture, and the incredible resilience of its people. On many world maps, Africa appears smaller in comparison to other continents, such as North America and Europe. This distortion is a result of the projection method used to transform the three-dimensional Earth onto a two-dimensional map. The most commonly used projection, the Mercator projection, greatly exaggerates the sizes of land masses as they move toward the poles. The impact of this cartographic distortion is profound. Africa is not the small appendage often depicted. In fact, its actual size is staggering. The continent is larger than the combined land areas of China, the United States, India, most of Europe, and many other regions. Its vast expanse spans over 30 million square kilometers, offering an incredibly diverse range of cultures, landscapes, and ecosystems.
Watch this. Yeah, our current world map is wildly misleading, so let's talk about it. Most of you are probably used to seeing our world portrayed as such, and that is due to the common use of the Mercator projection, a map that makes countries near the poles look bigger and those at the equator look smaller. You see, in 1569, Flemish cartographer Gerardus Mercator created a revolutionary map for navigating the seas. By constructing the world as a cylinder, not a sphere, his map was able to represent the meridians and parallels as straight lines that crossed at right angles, thus helping sailors navigate some of their first trips. Thing is, transferring that cylindrical projection onto a flat sheet of paper was a bit problematic, as it left big confusing gaps near the poles. And so, Mercator stretched out the northern and southern extremities of the globe to fill those gaps, and that brings us to the map we have today. Somehow, it became the world's most globally used map, and as such, warped our perceptions of the actual sizes of continents, much to the advantage of some of them. Yeah, the fact that continents like the US and Europe were greatly enlarged was no accident. It was done so Western cartographers could more easily mark towns, cities, etc. in their part of the world. Of course, much needed to be mapped in Africa, but that mattered less to them. It could also be said that imperialism and colonialism lent a hand in projecting certain continents as bigger and thus more intimidating. For example, while Canada and Russia appear to take up about 25% of the Earth's surface, in reality they only cover 5%. While Greenland appears to be the same size as the whole of Africa, in reality it's no bigger than the Democratic Republic of Congo. In fact, while Africa is commonly known to be a large landmass, it's still vastly underestimated by most of us. The African continent has a land area big enough to fit the US, China, India, Japan, Mexico, and a bunch of European nations. But interestingly, on the Mercator projection, Africa is the most accurately sized continent. You see, because Africa straddles the equator, it barely changes in size, but that also means that it gives us a false mental measuring stick for judging the relative size of other countries. Ultimately though, because the Earth is a sphere, there's no such thing as a perfect map. It would be impossible to map our world on a flat surface without errors in proportion. However, there do exist other map projections, and perhaps with technology making it possible to show globe depictions and people like myself talking about true continent sizes, hopefully those misconceptions will become a thing of the past.
If you have children going to school and they're seeing this map,
right,
they're seeing a distortion,
yeah,
of size, of shape, location, of importance. If they're looking at this map, they're seeing a distorted, shape distorted, but size and location and importance makes sense. This makes no sense.
right,
On that map, Alaska is bigger than Mexico. On this map, Mexico
yeah,
is bigger than Alaska. And look at Canada on this map. Look at that thing. That much of the map. Look at Canada on a properly constructed map.
yeah.
Do you think that's important?
It's like a world of difference, actually.
A world of difference. That's a good thought. Look at there. Look at South America and compare it to Greenland on this map.
Right. It's almost like we're teaching kids that we're bigger, we're better.
That's right.
You know.
That's right. That's exactly what this map is supposed to do.
Right.
What we have in this country and call education is indoctrination.
So why do they do that? I don't understand.
Why? Because the Pope commissioned Mercator to make a map that shows the spread of Christianity. So all the countries in which there are predominantly white people are larger than those in the southern part of the world.
If we used this map in school, it would give children a different visual image of the size, the shape, the relative importance of the countries of the world. Would it be unreasonable to ask teachers to put this map beside that one in their classroom? See, I think that's one of the things you can do. Another thing you can do as a person who is a racist, learn about your own racism. First, admit that you have that problem.
Good afternoon, Africans and the African diaspora. So today I found this interesting video that is a revelation. Right now you should be able to understand that we are living in the times of generation of revelations. Things are being revealed, things that the Bible says during the end times we will come to learn a lot of truths. You know, it also says in Matthew that no stones will be left unturned. Now we are living in those days. And now, as you understand, we had the creation of the earth. I personally believe that God created the earth, and you should believe that God did so. And also through this process we had the geographical forces, the tectonic forces that made the continent separate. It is believed that the continent was once a one landmass surrounded by water, and now a force came by that forced these plates, that forced these big plate to divide. This process was called the continental drift. You understand? So it was a continental drift. It was a force that forced the Earth's landmass to split. It split and it gave birth to the 7 continents we have today: Africa, Asia, Europe, North America, South America, Antarctica, and the Arctic, together with Australia. These are the 7 continents that we have, and it resulted from the tectonic plates, which was a process called continental drift. And now we have Africa, but we've never, it is believed that the shape of Africa was distorted by the white person. It is believed that Africa that is being represented on paper is not the actual Africa.
This audience is a very interesting group because of the differences. It really bothers me when I talk to all-white groups, because, folks, there's no such thing as an all-white group. You all have the same great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandparent back there 280,000 years ago, and she was a black female.
Why the maps? Why the maps?
Well, because people who are racist, in this country, we're all racist. White folks are all racist. We don't understand where it comes from. You can't cure it if you don't recognize that you have it. We all are infected with racism. We are taught to be racist in the schools. And here's just one example. Will you hold this up here, please? How many of you have ever seen a map that looked like this before? How many of you have ever seen this map?
Seen that map?
Yeah. Isn't this the map that you use K through 16 in the United States of America? Now, folks, look at this map. According to your social studies teacher, what is the equator?
Right,
an imaginary line where?
Yeah.
Around the center of the earth. Then if this map is correct, then the equator must be here, and Chicago has a tropical climate. Now, folks, this is the map that we use in the schools. Look where the United States is, in the middle of the world, right? Now, here's the USSR, which is no more, of course, Mongolia, China, Africa, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan. Now, look over here. USSR, Mongolia, China, India, Pakistan, Afghanistan. Two Indias here. We have 2 Indias. Did you know that? Now, people, this is a flat-out lie. Look at the size of Greenland and the size of South America. According to your social studies teachers, what were continents? Largest land masses on the face of the earth, right? Now, do you know the continents? Africa, Asia, Australia, Antarctica, Europe, North America, and South America. Did I say Greenland? Well, Greenland isn't a continent, but it's a huge landmass according to this map, right? The map is a flat-out lie, people. If you read the legend on the map, here it says, in fact, South America is actually 9 times larger than Greenland. Now, look at this map. The equator on this map is down here. All the white countries are larger than they should be, and all the countries of people of color are smaller than they should be. This is a visual image that teaches children a lie. In order to make this map anywhere near accurate, you have to take this over here and put it here like this. Now, well, can somebody hold that? Can you hold that down there, somebody? Are you a somebody?
Sally is a somebody.
Okay,
yeah.
Sally's a somebody. There. Now, take a look at the difference. Does that give you a different visual image of the importance of the United States? People, the way you use things like this, teaching aids like this, are what make you and I racist. We were taught that this is the way the world looks. It's a flat-out lie.
That is there, you understand? And now we've had some satellite imageries that try to show us that Africa is a particular shape. But now geographics, people who do geography have said no, it's not true that the shape of Africa is what is drawn on the papers. And we had people like Jane Elliott. Remember Jane Elliott? I did a video about her the other day when she was speaking of racism. In this particular instance, she's speaking about how the white imperialists deceived Africans and they distorted the shape of Africa. It seems like the Berlin Conference was not enough. They had to distort the continent. And now, without further ado, I want us to listen to what Madame Dr. Jane Elliott has to say about this, and then I'll give you my thoughts by the end of the video, where we will also have a deep critical analysis.
So what is wrong with this map? It's upside down. But it's not upside down, is it? It's just that we're used to seeing the map as a representation of it being a certain way up. But of course the world is not upside down. As soon as you see the map like this, it puts a very different perspective on Africa, doesn't it? I'm rather partial to this one. So we usually hit the most obvious frame of reference. And our frame of reference tells us what to look for and where to look.
This is a map of Africa, but in 1877. Most notably, this was before some crazy imperialization was about to go on. Literally 30 years later, and almost the entire continent would be eaten up. What's interesting here, though, is this is clearly a map made in English, so this is likely the British interpretation of the continent at this time. Key word there is interpretation. This map is a complete mess. We, for some reason, have a giant Ethiopian empire that controls a lot of the south, but no coastal territory. At least they got the no coastal territory right. Then there's also a very long Sudan. There's Upper Guinea and Lower Guinea. And finally, Mozambique on the east coast, as well as Zanzibar. I'm very confused because the mountains that are labeled through the... yeah, whatever. What I find interesting about this map is obviously they were able to get the coastlines down a bit better than the interior of Africa. Obviously, there was a lot of sailing going on here in the 19th century. We even had Cape Colony down this way.
Africa is a huge continent, and it's hard for most people to realize just how massive it is. Looking on a map, its size seems pretty unimpressive, and it looks to be a similar size to Greenland. But in reality, the continent is more than 14 times larger, and this is because the further land gets from the equator, the larger it appears to be on the map. This map distortion is also the reason why Africa seems so much smaller than it actually is. In fact, Africa is so large that the countries of China, India, Mexico, the US, and Japan could fit inside it, with plenty of room to spare. And just the single country of the Democratic Republic of the Congo is larger than Norway, Sweden, and Finland all combined. But its land area isn't the only thing that's massive, because Africa is also home to 1.4 billion people, a huge number which is expected to increase to about 2.4 billion by the year 2050 and 4.3 billion by 2100.
Look at this. This is the old map of Africa from 1584. So it's the last quarter of the 16th century. And it's awesome because you got some rivers and some lakes. And also above it. And I was searching on Google Earth for some areas for ancient cities and came across a few. Let me show you. And it's all about this area below the mountain range here. And let me show you. So here you got the below the mountain range. And I first came across this one. And it's a little bit to this side. Here it is. It's a small town, but you can definitely see some ruins and some walls, and it's different from the structures surrounding it. And you also got some other structures nearby it. So I think people know about it, but you can't find any info on it. And you see some modern tracks, but I also found another one near a city. So here you have the other one, and it's a little bit more destroyed, I think, because you see only the ruin imprints. And it's on top of the hill from the valley below. And here you got a city around it, and you also got some small ruins under the hill. And I also found this other weird structure. Let me show you. And it's not much of a structure, but it's, I think, a symbol or something, but it's nowhere near. Yeah, it's near a road, but it's completely in the, up the hills. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. And it's next to this. And my guess would be that this would be ruins under the ground. But let me know what you think. And if you like this, please follow and like for more. Thank you for watching.
Now this is the truth, and you've seen it for yourself. You've seen how the image of Africa was distorted by the white people. They made Africa look small, and they made Europe and those other continents look big. This means that they had their own evil intentions of doing so. It's high time Africans realize that we really don't have friends. You know, like Ronald Reagan once said, he says that America does not have permanent friends, or rather the West does not have permanent friends, but permanent interests. It was in the interest of the white people or the imperialists to distort the image of Africa. Now, I personally believe that Jane Elliott has no interest in lying to Africans. I personally believe that everything she's providing has empirical evidence, has had proof. It is circumstantial, substantial evidence. You know, listening to a white person speaking for black people is not something that is common. It's not common. And for her to speak in that manner, it has to be that she's gotten some revelations, and these revelations she's decided to share with the Africans. It can be true, because there is a website also that tries to tell us this is not happening. So there is this YouTuber, his name is Louis Spot. Louis Spot did a video on this before, some years back. From him I saw he was in a particular website. It's called truesize.com. In this website, truesize.com, is where you find this theory being tested, the theory that the plates do not fit the actual drawings. But why? Why was the person who was distorting the image of Africa distorting it? In what interest was he? Like, how was he benefiting from all this? The answer we've gotten from Jane Elliott. And now it's high time Africans understand that do not believe everything you see. Do not believe everything you hear. Like I always say, put every belief into test. Put every belief into test. Just test it. Remove everything that we were once told, and let's start picking by verifying the truth validity of each belief that we have. Those beliefs that do not adhere to the parameters of truth validity, those beliefs are not true, they are false, and they are made false by somebody who had ill intentions for Africans, such as the person who distorted the image of Africa. And I'm glad that we are now reaching the place where we are able to guide, we are able to discover the truth, we are able to have people enlighten Africans. Without Jane Elliott, many of us, including myself, I would have never known about this, because the textbooks really tell us that it is what it is. We've been made to believe that whatever's written in the textbook is what it is. No. The textbook is wrong. The education system is also not completely right. And that is what I know. That is what I believe. I believe my beliefs are being reinforced by the things I come to discover with the time. Yes, I hope that this video is able to enlighten you in some way, and you are able to learn from this video. You understand? So if you have any thoughts about this video, Be sure to subscribe, be sure to share your thoughts on the comment section. Let's continue this discussion on the comment section. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.